Well, who could have thought that both I managed to fuck up a French accent, a Russian accent, and miss the first part of Radraff? I'm really disappointed in myself. I haven't been on Discord much, so the moment that I thought it was out, I looked it up and yeah, it was out for sure. So I'm fucking very fucking late and I'm going to do this video because moral obligations. Yay! Regardless, first part of Radraff. What are my honest thoughts? Honestly, it fucking slaps. And I honestly think it's funny to actually gossip that my first instinct would say, it fucking sucks. Okay, it doesn't suck, okay? It slaps. And it slaps good. Like, that shit nice. That's the shit. That's the kind of stuff that happens when you actually put quality over quantity. When you don't make like 4 small chapters. The Omega Saga like they did. Regardless, Radraff Part 1, I'm gonna do a very quick sum up. And I was honestly considering just waiting until Part 2 released. Mostly because 2 things. One, to reduce the shame that I can say, oh, I was waiting the other one. But no, I'm gonna actually have the balls to go and say, no, I just forgot to look up and make the video when it came out. Regardless, Radraff Part 1 is the, of course, first part of what a presumably 2-part series will be. Which of course is called Radraff. It's redundant at this point. You get the idea of me calling it Part 1. And the story, to give a basic resume, is just an alpha archive. In resume, it's a bunch of collective missions that will be, as you know, as you see, archived in this little format of a story, of a little operation. And this in particular, it revolves, I'm gonna put it very loosely because of course I ask the authors and everything, but very loosely put, like really loosely put. It's the story of the alphas going after a super extremely powerful OP and unneeded bomb in a parallel version of Russia. And the idea is that they want this bomb because they will manually amplify and detonate it using Arcade's blood. Because as you know, as I made a video on it, if you don't know, go check it out, please, I need views. Arcade's blood is basically pure anti-energy, which is a substance that's pretty fucking capable of amplifying signals in general. Again, it's quantum stuff, it's fiction. Don't press the authors too much on thinking of a logic about how subatomic particles work. Just take that this shit can do some pretty wild stuff. From what I know, it also can give superpowers, basically kill people on touch because it's extremely lethal and supercharged. In our case, blood is a substance which is basically 100% anti-energy with, of course, some of his DNA and stuff, you know, blood stuff in there. Regardless, the plan is simple, but what I like to know is character development. Because here's the thing, these stories, of course, don't affect greatly the plot, as I see it. Of course, that I asked, so from what I gathered, this doesn't affect really the plot in a substantial way. Like, this isn't just moving forward. It's kind of like a filler, an admitted filler, but you know, good filler. It's like the, I like to compare it to the Tales of Ba Sing Se from Avatar and the Last Airbender. Like, it doesn't affect greatly the overall story, it doesn't push much forward, but it's a nice touch-up to make those characters seem more vivid and give them a bit more development and stuff and individual screen time. So basically the Alpha Archives will do that, and Radraff is no exception. First thing, I love Julia's introduction. It's not very explained, and I would like, honestly, that they have that. But you know, they have to kind of include everyone and give everyone a chance to shine. Otherwise, it'll just seem like favoritism. So, you know, I guess it's fair. Regardless, Julia's introduction works well. He is introduced in the first few lines of dialogue he has. He's already pretty established to be, you know, the kind of more laid down guy. He has a codename Pacifist, which is curious, because here's the thing, I don't know basically none of the shit of these characters where they're from. I just know they're from different series and universe. I know Max from Life is Strange and something. Regardless. Basically, they're from Parallel Universe, and I don't know anything about Julio, but I got a pretty good look at him, considering everything that this series gives at his disposal. By series, I mean Radraff. Regardless, he's pretty friendly. he's pretty nice, but he's human, and I mean human like no powers, not like Max and Parallax, who are amplified humans in a way or another. Regardless, he's perfectly human, he's perfectly fine, and he's a pacifist, as his codename says. He doesn't kill, he KOs or just, hurts people. He doesn't kill. He's like Batman, I guess. Regardless, but the main idea is that two things there to note. One, he's very close to with Max. Like close. I don't think even RK is this close, and he's supposed to be like her best fucking friend ever. Regardless, they're pretty close and they are pretty friendly with each other. RK fucking despises Julio, and like despises to the level that he was willing pretty much to just let him carry his blood. Which again, in case you don't remember, you probably have amnesia, but in case you don't remember, RK's blood has a large concentration of a substance that can basically kill you on touch. Like, it's not even a joke. What happens? You touch that thing in liquid form and you die. Not because it's hot, it's pretty fucking cold. You just die because your cells get overloaded with energy and your atoms start to fucking crush into each other because of increased molecular density. Yes, I asked of him about this. So basically, yes, you basically start to crush upon itself, and atoms are not, your cells are not really made to be shrunk down because their atom bonds are getting stronger. So you're kind of crushing your entire atom body into one. Regardless of the crazy lore stuff, aside from the tangent, he hates Julia at the point that he's just straight up gives them the vials with his blood, like regular vials, glass vials, not even a containment measure, and just says, okay, carry this to the bomb while constantly dodging incoming enemy fire. And fuck you if you trip this up, because I won't be worried that you're going through an extremely painful death. I'll be worried because it didn't got my energy. Also, yeah, that for context, RK wants to amplify this bomb because it will give him to steal the energy. Why? I'm curious to know as well. We'll know it by the end. Regardless, yes, character interactions are great. Parallax gets a great, and I mean fucking awesome scene. I feel like her scene is the best one out of everyone's. Not to, of course, be favoritism toward her. I know everyone that watches my henchwoman video, kind of, which is, ironically my most watched video, knows that I am sucker for Parallax. Like, she's a parallel version of Kai'Sa, who's also a super agent. So, like, my two favorite things. Regardless, she gets a pretty fucking cool scene and overall aspect where she takes down both a squad of Soviets and Americans. And what's the curious thing is that it gives her a lot of unique fighting styles. Like, of course, you cannot make everything unique. Like, if it was a movie, I feel like her fighting style would be more unique. But you don't have to describe every single swing from a sword. So, of course, that her fighting style is limited. But I like the way it works. Like, it gives her that snappy and brave, kind of bold attitude, but also not dumb. She pretty much fights with a lot of her short sword, and she uses a Python revolver. And this part gave her a really interesting weakness that I honestly didn't expect from it, Like, it was great. Okay, sorry. I accidentally opened my phone and it just shot up music. Okay. Regardless. Yeah, she gets a great weakness, which for those guys won't read because I know like 2 people will watch this. Her weakness is that she has amplified hearing, and as you can imagine, people with better hearing already have a struggle with daily life and a lot of noises. So someone with amplified hearing to the point that they can, I'm not even joking, in the chapter, she can locate targets through smoke and shoot at them. But the issue is that this extremely damages her hearing. And like damage to the point it bleeds. Like her ears bleed from repeated explosions and fire and stuff. So yeah, she has this weakness now, which is pretty interesting because I know she's amplified, but when you say amplified, you usually don't expect weaknesses. So this is really interesting because they're taking a different approach and they're actually giving her something to be volatile. I like that this is also hinted at God damn it, I forgot the goddamn name. Because this was hinted at Operation Rewrite because, again, as you can probably guess, I'm not extremely a fan of Operation Rewrite. I think it kinda is. But it's good because it foreshadows, because in the Operation Rewrite stuff, Agent Kai'Sa, which is essentially another parallel version of Kai'Sa, yes, it's getting pretty confusing, she gets death herself after RK cleverly uses of an incoming fireworks show to use her helmet's amplifier and both her hearing amplifiers and he essentially stunts her using fireworks. Regardless, this is pretty interesting because it shows she's not invincible, and even then damaged, she can do pretty good stuff. Like, she manages to still survive, which is impressive, though not without RK's help. RK, another one, is one that gets pretty good character development. Not gonna say character development, but he gets great character interactions. He is shown to be more of a side character, which is justifiable because, you know, he's fucking invincible and a god. So if he was in the actual mission, there would be no time. Like, he'd probably fuck everything up and still win anyway. So him being drawn out from the main conflict and honestly sticking just to tricking Jets around is honestly a pretty cool and not so, I'm not gonna say good, not gonna say fun, because let's be honest, RK's scenes, for me personally, are the most boring ones. Like, they just don't add a lot, and most of the stuff is either interactions from him or the pilots. Regardless, he takes care of basically 2 jets, one of which I won't spoil, but they'll basically become one of his Winds of Zenith, which is a group I might have to make an entirely new video on, regardless. And yeah, he basically takes care of the 2 jets, which is a great, I'm not gonna say it's bad, but it's not my favorite. Thing happens, and it does. At the end, it gets pretty interesting when he has a 4th wall break, which again, I always like 4th wall breaks. RK especially deals really well with this concept because he points. Like, most characters when making 4th wall breaks, they are either making fun to kind of get on the reader side, like especially in big corp movies, like they make fun of something, yeah, production. But no, RK is a great thing because he's still in character while doing this. And he doesn't just, does writing's taking long. No, he points the finger. I like this about RK, like, a lot. I know I've mentioned this a lot. But he points the finger at the writers directly and says, hey, you really gonna fucking do this to me? And it's really interesting and it's really funny because RK, unlike most of the other characters, is like an actor playing his part in a role. So whenever he breaks the 4th wall, he still feels very much in character, and he feels like, he's really pointing out the critical flaws in fiction. Because again, he knows in the fiction work, that's pretty interesting about him, like he knows in the fiction work, he's constantly aware of it, so whenever stuff happens, he automatically tries to draw comparisons and spot flaws. So whenever there's a plot hole or an inconvenience or something that was clearly add up in late, like in this case the repurposing of one of the crashed pilots, like he will point out, and I like this about the authors. Like they don't do the acknowledge it, so now it's okay. No, they acknowledge it and yet they say, yeah, it sucks, it was added in late, forgive us. Not gonna say the forgive us, but still, I like that they have the balls, kinda, to point at themselves and laugh sometimes. It's good, and RK is the perfect means to do that, because, it's in the third-person character, so it doesn't look like they're victimizing themselves, it just looks like they're making a fun, practical comment at their own writing. So yeah, overall, part 1 is pretty great. Not my exact favorite of every story. I'm still holding Surgeon's Will in high regard, and I'm really fucking hoping that it comes out next, because oh god, this is gonna be the shit. I'm not gonna be the classic meme guy, but inspired by Dispenser, I have been playing a lot of Metal Gear Rising emulators and stuff, and watching a lot of videos. So I'm really hoping that he gets that into, because oh fuck, Metal Gear Rising actually has good fight scenes when of course I'm not the one playing. Regardless, yeah, that's all. Goodbye.